Hi, this is Abul Hussain coming to you direct from London, the United Kingdom, and welcome to another episode of the 𝗧𝗲𝗺 Mastermind podcast, where we talk about how you can start or scale your digital marketing agency. Now, if you are watching this episode outside of our Facebook group, make sure to find the link above or below this video, or go to 𝗧𝗲𝗺mastermind.com, especially if you are in the agency community. Now, with that out of the way, I have a very special guest joining me all the way from Missouri in the US. His name is Ivan Temelkov, and he has quite an inspirational story in how he started his business. He is the CEO and founder of Razor Sharp Digital. Ivan, welcome to the show.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much for joining me. I know time is a very precious commodity these days. So for the viewers who might not know who you are, how about a little bit of an introduction, and how did you get into the digital marketing space?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm an immigrant. I was born in Bulgaria, immigrated to the United States at the age of 14. That was in 1994, and quickly found a passion for technology, curiosity for the internet in the very early days. I was that kid who not only had an entrepreneurial background where, making deals on the playground as a Eastern European, always wanting more out of life. And then when we immigrated to the United States, found a passion for technology, found a passion for social media. And mind you, this was, pre the 2000s and the dot-com burst and all of that. And so at a very young age, I just took curiosity to all of this, the technology, the marketing piece, learning how to code at a very early age. And little did I know that this would turn into a career. This would turn into, me owning my own business one day. And as they say, kind of the rest is history. I've always been very explorational, very disruptive, very innovative in everything that I do. And so I just took that curiosity and that passion for technology and digital and just wrote it out for, as they say, as long as I could. And so kind of fast forward, I guess you could say I got my MBA from the School of Google, because I pretty much learned everything there as someone who barely graduated high school and dropped out of college, and had the opportunity to teach people smarter than me things that I have learned on Google, simply because I was very resourceful. I was very creative, very explorational. And let's face it, anybody can, do anything on the internet nowadays. Anybody can, present themselves in a certain way. But what has really helped me grow and start my business is that I've always had a very disruptive, creative, innovational, explorational approach, always been an early adopter to many things. And just, when most agency owners, especially in the digital marketing space, are doing certain things, I'm like over here on the other side, like doing my own thing. For instance, 5, 6, 7 years ago, when I started doing personal branding, little did I know that personal branding was going to be such a hot commodity nowadays, and the fact that it's how you sell yourself. And suddenly I realized, what? I have a powerful story. I've been bankrupt. I've lost over $100,000 on bad choices, poor choices, not doing the right things, mistakes, before I actually learned what worked and what didn't. And mind you, I've always been passionate about what I do, which is digital and social. And, also spend a lot of time in the digital world. I've got 13 plus years experience in the agency side. So I get to work with a lot of Fortune brands, and quickly realize that at the end of the day is betting on yourself, on your strengths, is probably the best thing that you can do in any business. I don't care if you're building, a marketing business or whatever you're doing as an entrepreneur. Bet on your strengths, bet on what you're good at, do more of that. And, kind of fast forward, into 2020, I'm finally seeing, after, almost 2 decades, over 2 decades of professional experience, personal experience, having taught digital at the university level also, that at the end of the day, it's just being yourself. Bet on who you are, bet on your character, bet on your personality. Stop worrying about the materialistic things that the world, tells you to do. Stop worrying about, when people say no, I'm over here doing the yes. I'm like, no, I'm going to do this, like, watch me do it. because that's the next thing. And that has really attributed to building my business and attracting, like-minded clients. One of my clients is a $150 million auto glass company, one of the
Wow.
largest in the United States. And, this was really just off of a 5-minute conversation about SEO, and it's just that kind of, I think charisma also has a huge part of who you are and how you build your business. And I can be very charismatic, but I kind of, as they say, put your mouth where your money is, because too many people, especially in the marketing space, will give you a lot of fluff. But at the end of the day, can you do half of what you said?
Mm.
Because too many people talk, but can you do half of what you said?
Yeah.
And I'm that guy. No, I'm not going to do the half. I'm going to do 200% of what I said, because I always over deliver. And that's another thing is that don't just deliver on expectations, go above and beyond. Build relationships. And so that's kind of, I guess, the Cliff's Notes version of who I am and what got me to where I'm at today.
Awesome. That's absolutely awesome. And we're going to talk about this $150 million client in a bit. So Razor Sharp Digital, what services do you offer your clients?
Mm-hmm. So Razor Sharp Digital is a full service digital agency. And what we do is we help brands and entrepreneurs forge their entire digital footprint using multi-channel marketing, emotional engagement, and human-to-human business practices. And one of the things that I really kind of forged 6 years ago when I started the business is that we're the #1 human marketing agency in the world on Google. And this was really more of, I saw a lot of this kind of trend developing where human business, H2H, was really going to be the next thing. Because let's face it, I don't care if you're running, a $200,000 per year business or a $200 million, dollar business per year. At the end of the day, people buy you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what the name of your company is. And so we really focus on that. So we do a lot of pay-per-click marketing. We do website development, design, social media marketing, everything basically that every modern brand needs to grow and excel beyond all the minutia that you currently see in the digital space. And all of it is just really, pursuing not only the knowledge that I have, but also doing a lot of different things that focus on community cultivation, because that's a big part, really, especially when you're trying to grow a business, is just that to cultivate a strong community of like-minded people who, like you, trust you, and see value in what you have to offer. A lot of social video. We do a lot of social video for clients as well, which is really like live video, pre-recorded video also, that we have seen to prove to be a good relationship building exercise. So that's kind of the gamut of services.
Right. Okay. And is there any particular niches that you specialize in, or do you kind of work across the board?
That's an excellent question, because everybody asks that. And I think, being 6 years in the business, haven't really doubled down on a niche at this point, because, we've got a $150 million auto glass company. We've got a mobile tech startup, we've got also another client that we do social for that's in the industrial space. They build the biggest transformers for the mining industry. So if you think as a mine, as a city, they basically built these ginormous pieces of equipment that basically powers an entire mine,
Wow.
which are very niche in the United States. There's only a small number of mines that are left. So to answer your question, no, because we haven't really, I guess, focused on the niche. I think eventually we will, but we haven't really developed that trend at this point.
Right. And in terms of your current setup, how many people work in your agency, including yourself? I mean, are there people who are account managers exclusively, and then do you have like social people, and what's your internal setup?
Internal setup is basically a business of two right now.
Right.
And actually, we have another person who is onboarding here in a week. And I just said, I think that's probably one of the biggest misconceptions with modern businesses, is that, especially in the marketing space, too many people think that you need, don't get me wrong, you need a project manager, a developer, a designer, a social media coordinator, a content writer. I've managed all these people in my agency days, but it's better to work smart than hard. So you can be efficient about your resources, and be efficient about who you attract. Because for me personally, I don't need to have two hands full of clients. One handful is fine because all my clients are family. I connect with them on an emotional level. I treat them like family and they do the same thing. So that's really where I think the differentiation is. And so we're a company of two right now. We're looking to grow. And in fact, 2020 has actually proven to be one of the best years, honestly, because we're growing and scaling. In fact, at this rate, looking to bring on 2 more people within the next 6 months, simply because of the demand and the growth, and really hyper focusing on, and we do have a niche, which is human marketing, human business. That's it. But besides that, we don't have a niche like industry and verticals
Right.
that we're really hyper focused on, because we work with entrepreneurs, anyone who wants to start a business, any small to mid-sized company, and a lot of times it's on the small business side, small to medium sized businesses. It's that anyone that basically has done some digital, probably failed at it, someone made them empty promises, spent a lot of money, and then get the results that they were looking for. So we kind of like the savior that comes in and says, well, this shit's broken. You need to fix all this. Someone promised you the moon, but they didn't even do half the work that they promised for you. And in fact, here's a prime example. Worked with a client recently who someone charged her $17,000 on Facebook ads and had zero to show for it. I'm
Wow.
talking about zero leads, zero nothing. And even for a third of the cost, not even a third of that cost, we generated over 60 qualified leads in 3 weeks on Facebook ads. That's when I actually
Wow.
realized that I'm not charging enough for the services, because it was so fruitful. And she was just blown away. She was like,
Yeah.
how did you do this? I'm like, how you do it is the difference. And that's where, you can predicate your costs. But what happens a lot of in digital is there's too many digital agencies and digital marketers. It's like they set price so high and value so low.
Yeah.
And that's really the differentiating factor. So we're very small. We're very mighty. We're growing. And honestly, to be honest with you, I can't wait until one day I have a staff of 100 or more, and then have a new set of problems to worry about.
Right. Okay. No, that's absolutely awesome. So in terms of your day-to-day, are you doing kind of delivery as well as prospecting and account management, or do you like bring on freelancers and outsourcers on a project by project basis?
That's an excellent question. So I was actually talking to someone about this, that I do spend a lot of time in the business. So I do project management. I do some implementation for certain clients as well. With having a full-time social media coordinator on, a lot of that is shifting, basically. So a lot of the content writing, a lot of the social media management, some project management as well. And obviously looking to evolve and grow that, because the one thing I'm trying to do is free up more of my time, so I can work more on the business instead of in the business.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I love working in the business. I'm passionate about, doing it. And one thing earlier on that I forgot to mention is that having a strong why and purpose. You see, most digital agencies and marketers are in this to make money. I've lost a lot of money just trying to figure out what works and doesn't. So I have a strong why and a strong purpose, and that is my kids and my family. I talk about this all day long, and there's a huge story behind that. So every day I wake up in the morning, I have a strong sense of gratitude. I'm alive. Everything that happens will happen for a reason. I don't look at every day of like, how much business am I going to bring in? And that makes a huge differentiating factor in who I work with. And also when I hire people on emotional intelligence. You don't have to be the smartest. You don't have to be the most skilled. You have strong emotional intelligence. Are you a problem solver? Are you truly optimistic and positive? Are you solution oriented? I can teach you how to do everything else. And so that's kind of the differentiating factor. And I wanted to talk about the why and purpose, because that's key. That's my everyday why I get up, why I do it, the purpose behind it, because I want the ultimate freedom, and my why and purpose is going to help me get there.
So what's the story? You said there's a story behind your why and your purpose. If you don't mind sharing that, that would be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. So, so 6 years ago, so I have a 4-year-old son and a 2-year-old daughter, and both of my kids are in vitro kids, IVF kids. So 6 years ago, when I married my second wife, we were told that we couldn't conceive kids naturally. And honestly, for as long as I could remember, I've wanted to be a father. You know, it's like the ultimate blessing for me. And then being told that, okay, you couldn't have kids naturally for this abnormal reason, I'm thinking, is God punishing me? You know, is God telling me that like I wasn't meant to be a father? It was a very dark time in my life, you know, and I mean, we prayed and we prayed and we prayed. And honestly, to this day, they're both an act of a miracle. They really are. Both completely healthy. And 6 years later, going through so many emotional and, you know, going bankrupt, spending close to $50,000 on medical procedures. To this day, I don't even know where this money came from. Honestly, I just know it came. You know, being resourceful, hustling my ass off, you know, doing side work when I was still in the agency world and this and that, you know, and it happened. And so these days, it's my kids. It's my children. Everything I do is for them, you know, and that's my why. That's why, you know, I talk about this, and my purpose is to help as many people as possible. Because I know I mean, right now I've got 3 clients alone they've been dreaming about, you know, doing something for 6, 7, 8, 9 years. You know, I've got a client, for example, who, you know, she was brought here on an arranged marriage, and she's building a business that's going to be a purpose-driven legacy. And honestly, when we talked, you know, she's been in the insurance world. She's amazing, MBA, very educated, but she feels like her life is just starting now. And so like me being able to come on and say, I can help you do this. I can help you build a digital strategy. I can help you build a social strategy. I can help you build your website. I can help you tell your story. I mean, that's amazing. That's fulfillment right there, to be able to do that. And then the drive behind it is my children, to be able to have something, to build the legacy that I can pass on to them so they can have more opportunities than I ever did. By the way, I mean, I come from a former communism country.
Yeah.
You know, when I was 9 years old, I couldn't celebrate the holidays. Up until 9 years old, if you celebrated Christmas, you could be arrested.
Wow.
Like, I came from nothing, literally. And so you might have heard this, but, you know, 40% of Fortune companies in the United States were started by immigrants or children of immigrants. You know, Apple and Microsoft, Google, you know, like these big IBM, the list goes on and on and on.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it has to do with humble beginnings, you know, work ethic. I mean, I work 10, 12 hours per day, almost 7 days per week, but I don't do it because of how much money I'm going to make. I do it because I love what I'm doing, because it's giving back to others. And so the story behind it was my kids. You know, I mean, went bankrupt, had to move multiple times. And I realized, you know what, there's a higher calling. Like the purpose, like every day, as long as I get to see my children every day, as long as I get to see my wife, I've won. I've already won.
Yeah.
You know, I don't need money to make me happy. I mean, money is, as
Absolutely.
they say, the grease on the wheels. It's great. I'm making good money. You know, this year alone, we're coming up on close to $300,000 in gross revenue. Not bad for a 2-person shop.
No, it's great.
You know,
Great.
but it's the motivator behind it is my why and my purpose, and it's my kids. You know, I did an interview at Park City TV earlier this year, and the anchor asked me and said, "So Ivan, you know, it says in your bio that you've risked everything, you know, for your goals and dreams." I said, "Why is it so hard to believe?" Because in this world that we live in, so many people are focusing on mediocrity, materialistic things, and news, and politics, and this and that. How about you? What matters to you? You live one life. And most people, you know, one of the most saddening things that I've heard, and even if from family members too, some that now have passed, is that when they get to be 60, 70, 80 years old, you know what happens is regret.
Yeah.
You hear them say, I never did this. Why didn't you do it? Because you didn't take initiative. You know, I didn't have a strong enough purpose. I did things because everybody else wanted me to do certain things in a certain way. It's amazing when you find your why and purpose and passion and commit to it, amazing things happen. I know plenty of millionaires who have done exactly what I'm doing the same way. Not because they did it for money, they have done it because they were passionate, they have a strong why and purpose. My why is my family. You know, everywhere under my personal brand that you'll see online, whether it's on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn, a huge part is my family. And the more and more I focus on that, I mean, I'll give you a prime example. Last year, I was on LinkedIn every single day at noon for 4 months. For 4 months, pushing out videos, a lot of empathetic videos, you know, talking about my trials and tribulations in life and in business. And then suddenly, after 4 months, I get a direct message from this project manager. And kind of long story short is that ended up being a healthcare startup based right here in my hometown. And she reached out to me because she said, Ivan, you're real, man. You have a no BS approach, no fluff. I've looked you up. I've Googled you. I've seen your company. Like you check out everywhere. You know, you've been featured on Entrepreneur, Inc. magazine, all this. That's cool. What I love about you is how real and raw you are. Like, and by the way, I don't know about this episode, but I'm that guy who curses. I'm that guy who throws F-bombs. I'm that guy who
throw it all out there if you want. Absolutely. We don't hold back.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the guy who says fuck. I'm the guy who says bullshit. I'm the guy that like I do all of that. That's my character. That's my personality. And here's what happened is, long story short, over a period of 3 months, I did over $15,000 in business with them. Started a podcast because I have a podcast of 6 years now. Did a full-blown digital strategy. I did a lot of video marketing. I did conversion architecture for their website also. Took over some paid media advertising from a relationship that I had of 2 years with another company out of Boston. And why? It's because the sentiment. Because there's a reason why they say we do business with people we like, trust, and value.
Yeah.
If people don't like you, they're not going to pay you. It's that simple. If they don't trust you, and how do you build trust in a digital world? You show up every day. I showed up for 4 months every single day with a new video on LinkedIn with zero fucking expectations. Zero. I didn't do it because I needed to push content out there. That's what most marketers do. That's most digital agencies do. We need content. We need content. We need to put it out there. But you don't need massive amounts of content. You need something that resonates with people. That's heartfelt, that people could connect with. That's why I ended up getting that client. It's because it was emotional. It was sentiment that could connect with me. And literally, she set up a meeting with one of the 5 partners, came in. The second day, they're paying me over $5,000 per month to do all this shit.
No, that's awesome. That's absolutely awesome. Now, you know, this $150 million client, 5-minute phone call. Tell us about that.
Absolutely. So up until recently, I was part of an organization called Arte. It's sort of the underground society for elite entrepreneurs that's run by Ed Milet and Andy Frisella. And your audience should probably know who these guys are. Someone like Andy Frisella, who I admire. I followed this guy for a very long time. And I got a chance to be a part of this organization. And they actually had a conference here in St. Louis. So Andy Frisella is the CEO of First Forum and Supplement Superstores, among some of the businesses that he owns. Also very reputable. I mean, this is a public speaker that gets paid $100,000 to $150,000 to speak, you know, very prominent. And so they had the conference here in St. Louis because actually now First Forum, which is a huge fitness brand, anyone that's in health and in fitness and nutrition, they probably know about First Forum, and they're based right here in St. Louis, and they're a global organization. And so they had the conference here, and I go to this conference, right, because I was part of this organization, and this gentleman just approaches me and starts asking me about, he's also part of Arte, right, and starts asking me questions about search engine optimization. You know, he's like, you know, we're an auto glass company and this, and this, and, you know, we do this and this, and we've got a website, and we're really not getting leads from this website. Like, I'm just spitballing. I'm like, well, you know, you probably need to audit your website and see where leads are coming from, you know, see why leads are not coming. And, you know, and here's what I would do. If I did that, I would probably rebuild the website, or depending on the platform that it's built. And later I found out it was built on Drupal. So we built a new website for them, which was on WordPress. And then there were other problems, like, you know, Google Analytics wasn't installed. They didn't have funnels set up, like all kinds of shit, you know. Mind you, someone charged them like $7,000 for this website.
Wow.
And I'm like, there's little like, there's typos on this website. I don't need to be literate to see it. Like, are you fucking kidding me? You know? And so next thing I know is 30 days later, you know, Dave reaches out to me and is like, dude, like, you gave me a lot of stuff to think about, you know, like, what does this look like in us working together? Like, you gave me so much value. I'd be stupid, you know, not to figure out a way to work with you. And I said, okay, well, you know, we'll build a new WordPress site, you know, new content strategy behind it, make it more socially integrated, also obviously 100% mobile friendly. And now we're 6 months in, and then went from 0 organic leads to they're generating anywhere from 10 to 15 organic leads consistently from Google and Bing, because we blog regularly, because we built a conversion friendly website, because it's easy to navigate, you know. And that's just said, I think in the digital space, too many companies and entrepreneurs just overthink shit. You know, it's like, there is one of the best articles I ever wrote on Medium was like, less is more. You know, you don't need to have a fancy website. You need to have a functional website. Well, their website was dysfunctional. It was built on Drupal. It had all kinds of broken links. So we did a full crawl, found out what was broken, put together a strategy, you know, an SEO strategy, an SEO audit, built a new website also with conversion architecture. I flat out told them, I said, look, give me 3 to 6 months and you'll get organic leads. You know, SEO is about the long term, not the short term. You know, it's a long burn. You got to be patient. And the one thing that we actually found out that's actually fascinating is that the organic leads that they're getting from Google and Bing now actually have the highest conversion rates, which, as you know, anybody that's in the digital space is that, you know, high conversion rates has to do with attraction, right? And I'm talking 20 to 30% conversion rates. Like, these are amazing. Like, these are people that are spending a minute to a minute and a half on the website. You know, they're cruising around, they're reading all the blog posts, you know, they're observing like, yeah, this company is legit, you know, and this is a company that basically does like auto glass replacement, like windshield replacement. And one thing that we also figured out, you know, is that instead of talking about auto glass, let's diversify. Let's talk about like 3 things to prepare in the fall, you know, to prepare with your car, you know, make sure it's got antifreeze, you know, make sure your oil's changed and the things like that. Because why does this matter? Because you're creating thought leadership. You're creating fresh content for search engines. When most marketers are like, we just need to create content for search engines. No, dude. You need to create something that's appealing for the user. First and foremost, not for the search engines, which is secondary, right? So 6 months fast forward, and in fact, because we did such an amazing job, now we're talking about taking over full social media marketing for them. Also referral business from them. 5-star review also, you know, on Google My Business. So like, it just created a snowball effect, and that's just it. If you practice what you preach and you find clients that are willing to invest and spend money, you've got flexibility. And you need flexibility because you need time. And so this is why, you know, we don't work with just anybody. You know, we work with small to medium-sized businesses, a couple million or more in gross revenue. We do work with some small entrepreneurs, you know, that do a little bit of this. Like, we've got a client that's got a podcast strategy that we're doing for, you know, we've got one that we're doing just a digital strategy for right now, but that creates an evolution from there. Because once people get a proof of concept, that was for Dave. Like I told him, I said, look, you know, it's going to take, you know, 1 to 2 months to build this WordPress site, but it's going to be right on par. Check, got that done. It's going to take 3 to 6 months before you start building your search visibility. And mind you, they had 0 search visibility with their previous website. Check, that's happening now. 6 months organic leads, which, by the way, 50% of their organic leads are coming from Bing. And if you notice that Google dominates about 95% of the search market, and I'm that guy that would say, yeah, put all your money on Google, right? Yeah, it makes sense. That's where most of your traffic has come from. But don't forget about Bing. Because what most people don't understand is that if you're a PC owner, right, if you run Windows on your computer, well, the default search engine is Bing. Right? So let's not forget about the Windows users. And actually what happened in the last 2 months is we saw from getting like, you know, 3 to 5 organic leads from Bing to like 5 to 7 and more sometimes per month from Bing. Why? Is because we've built cloud. And we're starting to understand now the shift in the user, that apparently more people are going to Bing to search for auto glass repair, auto glass replacement, things like that, and they're also going to Google. So we're kind of spreading it out a little bit. So again, it's a tactical approach to doing this, but at the end of the day, is everything that I shared with you is just that, yes, theory is great. And I think most digital agencies and marketers are very theoretical. Not enough of them are practical. It's simple. It's like, can you do what you say you can do?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So that's the $150 million auto glass client. In fact, they're actually one of the biggest in the United States, but most people actually don't know about them because they've got multiple subsidies. In fact, right now they're actually building with of the company. What I mean, subsidies, they've got 7 or 8 different brands that kind of operate independently. We actually talked about the fact of building an umbrella environment for them. We're like, nah, auto glass is so competitive. It's almost like legal marketing, like attorneys, lawyers and such, right?
Yeah.
So we really don't want to build that umbrella, because the next thing you know is we're going to have the competition sniffing up our butts. So yeah, I think that's a valid point, but at the same time is, I'm that kind of guy that will say, you're always going to have competition. The competition can never duplicate you. You've got your own approach to doing things. Nobody can even emulate you doing that. And actually, ironically enough, I'm seeing like even some former bosses of mine that run multi-million-dollar agencies trying to do the same shit I'm doing. We're going to be human-centric, human business, blah, 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 all this shit. It's like, dude, I've spent 6 years trying to find the formula to this, And so to answer your question is, it was a 5-minute conversation. This is how I captured a $150 million client. And I think it's luck. Luck is definitely a part of it. I think it's value. It's likability. It's very basic. It's just by being yourself, And what I found more and more of that is just that, and actually now we've been working with them for about 9 months. And I feel like the relationship is just evolving because, they're kind of an old school company. They're ran by dinosaurs, so to speak, 30 plus years in business. And like the older guys are like, well, what about like our keyword ranks? I'm like, forget the fucking keyword rankings. As long as you're getting leads, who gives a shit?
Yeah, exactly.
It's that simple. As long as you're getting targeted leads with 20 to 30% conversion rates, who gives a shit about what keyword or phrase you rank for? That the leads supersede that. And so again, it becomes a matter of logic. One of my most favorite quotes that I've been saying over and over and over, probably for the last year, is by Tony Robbins. Business is 90% psychology and 10% execution. You could be the shittiest marketer in the world, but if your logic is spot on, people are going to buy from you all the time. I know plenty of people that have built marketing businesses by just having superior logic and mindset. And this is why I personally, even with my podcast, I talk about personal development, self-development, focus, clarity, because these are literally, the basics, the foundation of what's going to make you successful. I mean, when was the last time you saw a successful marketer or an entrepreneur or a business owner that wasn't heavily investing into, inspirational type of stuff, motivational type of stuff, self-development, personal development, health, fitness? This is largely why I've been a cyclist for 7 years. And when I tell most people, like, yeah, I just rode 33 miles in 2 hours. Like, what the fuck, dude? I'm like, dude, I just get this energy rush of ideas. It's insane. I can't explain it. Why did I do a carnivore diet for 33 days and lost 10 pounds? Most people are like, nah, that's insane. That's crazy. That's, and by the way, if you don't know what the carnivore diet is, like, it's basically an all meat, red meat diet.
Carnivore.
Right. You want to know is because but what did I do to me? I've had the sharpest mind in my entire life. I'm talking about like energy. Think of drinking energy drinks for 12 hours a day, except you're not. That's what it felt like. Do you know what that did to my business? Just exponential growth, more leads, more conversations, more productivity. And forget about the digital stuff. I mean, I'm great at that. I'm great at, I've done $15 million in Google ads and Facebook ads. I've done just about as much on search engine optimization, social media. I've done all this stuff. But most people can Google this shit nowadays.
Yeah,
Why would they hire me? Is because of the experience.
Yeah.
That's literally it. And so that's probably the biggest advice I would give to anyone, on your audience and listeners, is just that just really double down on your strengths. What are you good at? Like I know I need a videographer. I love doing videography. I love doing dronography. But realistically, is that where my time is best spent? No, long term, not. I'll just find someone to do it, that they live and breathe videography and dronography. I'll let them use my freaking $1,200 drone and my DSLR camera, because then I can shift my attention to talking to more people like you, building more relationships, because that's what I'm best at. I'm a relationship builder. I trade attention basically all day long. I love the digital stuff, but my attention is shifting to work on the business, not in the business.
Awesome. Awesome. And you know what? It's been a wonderful conversation. And I know we've gone over the slot I booked with you. So for you, I have one final question, which is, what did your prospecting look like when you started your agency? How are you picking up clients, and how has that changed over the last couple of years? If it's changed, that is.
Yeah. I mean, prospecting has really always, for me, been community cultivation, attracting like-minded people, entrepreneurs, small business owners, anyone who is trying to figure out how to do this digital stuff, or has done it and has failed or lost a lot of money, and they're looking for someone who, is the shining light, so to speak. And there's a lot of those out there. I mean, I've got a client. I'll give you an example. He took Billie Jean's Facebook marketing course, and the guy was like, dude, I set up this campaign in Facebook ads, and like, I'm just not getting anything. I'm not even getting views. I'm like, well, everything sounds great in theory, bro, but in practicality, it's much harder. Mind you, this is an MBA, very smart dude, So this is someone that now we're doing, a couple of $1,000s per month in social media marketing for the company that he works for. And by the way, I literally jumped into the Facebook account, created the campaign, and today we've created 22 targeted leads on Facebook ads at around $19 per result. And so my prospecting is building relationships with like-minded people. And do you know, the prospecting has a lot to do with cultivation, meaning that, for instance, this relationship started out of a comment on Instagram.
Right. Literally,
because there was an emotional connection. Little did I know that, Justin is a bodybuilder, and now we're doing some fitness stuff with him. He's helping me with my fitness and nutrition. Oh, and Justin has traveled to 9 countries. That's more than I can say about the average American, by the way. So in this comment, when I told him, I said, dude, like, I'm an Eastern European. I came from nothing. My father had $400 in his pocket. Now runs a multi-million-dollar business and this and this. We just like clicked, man. Next thing you know is we're on a 3-hour phone call shooting the shit. I'm actually going to visit him in a month to tour their facility. He works for a $25 million company that builds those giant transformers I talked about for the mining industry.
Right.
Like, we're going to tour. He's like, dude, I'm going to put you up in the best hotel, dinner, drinks, you fucking name it. Why? Because of a fucking comment? That's my prospecting. Give a fuck about people. Totally relate about them. That's my prospecting. And it always will be. And I didn't realize until 6 years ago that it's a DNA thing for me. It always has been. I love talking to people. I love finding out what problems they're having in business. What's your goals and dreams? The bigger your goals and dreams are, the more excited I am to help you. And that's my prospecting. Literally, I mean, don't get me wrong. I got a CRM. I use it. I document everything. What is fascinating is that people find it hard to believe that I operate in real time. That's my prospecting. Like, you message me on Messenger, here comes a response 3 seconds later. Doesn't matter what day or time it is. It could be fucking Christmas or New Year's Eve. I'll still respond. And mind you, I've got 2 kids and a wife to cater to.
Well,
that's the difference. You see what I'm saying? So my prospecting is get to know people. As many people that are like-minded, as many people that are optimistic, that are positive, people that, yes, they need help with marketing. Absolutely, digital. But I feel like I just tell people, go to my website, ivantemelkov.com. My full story's on there. My TV interview's on there. You can see my background, read about it. And then they're like, holy shit, Ivan, you got an amazing story, man. I'm like, it's my story, and it's my selling proposition in an essence, because when people learn about my story, they're like, dude, you've done a lot of shit, man. Like, most people, I haven't done half the stuff that you have. And I'm like, in part, I'm polarizing. I'm explorational, I'm disruptive, I'm innovative, I'm always doing different things. Most people will say, no, Ivan, that's not worth it, man. I'm like, watch me. That's my prospecting is instead. So find people who see value. My prospecting is find people who see value in what you have to offer. Build likability and build trust. That's the prospecting. And honestly, the sales cycle, what I've actually noticed is that it has become longer because it's about cultivating. It's about getting to know people on a personal level. And people see my social videos. People, see my personal website. People see the business. People see the 5-star reviews on Google and Facebook for Razor Sharp Digital. And that adds to the credibility. And say, all right, next thing you know is I get a phone call and it's like, all right, Ivan, we're doing XYZ, it ain't working, can you help us out? So education is a huge part of prospecting. You have to educate upfront. I spend a lot of time educating. That's why I do social videos, because I spend an immense amount of time, educating. And after educating, people, that's where I connect with people. And so it's a chain effect from there. You have to be very documentative about, your prospect list, because if you're not, then you can lose track really quickly.
Yeah.
So that's probably, my best advice that I would give is that, because I think too many digital agencies and marketers really, putting all their eggs into the paid basket. Let's run Facebook ads. Let's run Google ads. Yeah, you do need that for targeted exposure. But guess what? If you've got zero brand equity, if you've got zero branding, nobody's going to buy from you. People aren't stupid. This is why organic leads have much higher conversion rates. Is because most consumers know, most businesses know the definition of a paid ad. They can see it in the SERP.
Yeah.
They can see that it's fluffed up. It's intended for you something to do. So in prospecting, just be natural. Just be yourself. That's my prospecting. How has this changed? I mean, long term, it's going to change because I'm definitely looking at building a sales team. But what I've also found is just that, all the potential sales folks that I was wanting to bring on or hire also is like, dude, I fucking love the whole human approach, man. Like you live it and breathe it. In fact, you are probably such a good salesman that you don't even realize it. And that's just me. I never really sold. I mean, I just build relationships with people. And next thing I know is like they're paying me to do something, to solve a problem, because that's the essence of business. And so long term, I want to be able to teach that process to people so they can understand that sell but don't sell. Tell a story, create an experience. That's how people are going to buy. And now we're building up so much equity with Razor Sharp Digital that people see it. We've got a list of clients that can attest to that. We've got reviews also. Some of the reviews, like Ivan's the best marketer I've ever worked with. He truly takes the time to get to know the brand. You know what I mean? Because I'm in the trenches. I mean, I won't always be in the trenches and that's probably one of the things that I will miss long term, but I need to be able to pull away by being in the business and more on the business, because that's how I'm going to be able to grow. You see what I mean? Yeah. So the prospecting, I think, will grow and evolve, and it has to, based on relevance to the market. Also, like now we're real time, texting, in fact, I was looking at a new community website that does some high level text messaging, because what I found is it's like, that's an amazing way to prospect. It's like, I'm a big fan of what Gary Vaynerchuk does. Like literally, I've employed a lot of his strategies and that has helped me immensely grow. But a lot of it is like, just be a good fucking human, just give a fuck, and if you've got value, apply it to specific people, and don't hope for instant gratification. They're like, well, I talked to so-and-so today, so I wonder if they're going to buy into that $2,500 digital strategy, No, like, what else can you do for them? Because they'll buy into you. I just had a call actually with a client of mine who I'm upselling on doing a website for her because I'm doing a digital strategy. But the reason I upsold her is because she likes working with me. Yeah. She likes that I take the time to communicate on Slack. I take the time to text her. I take the time to jump on a Zoom call. Or if we just need to have a call on the cell, like we can just talk. you know? And that's where I think a lot of companies are kind of missing the ball, is that they're overthinking too much with prospecting. Sure, prospect lists are important, don't get me wrong, but I feel like you're gonna be, and that's why social media is so great, is just that, and that's actually a personal downfall for me, is that I don't spend enough time on social to prospect, because social has been very fruitful. You know, the documentation, all that, like eventually I want to have someone like a salesperson that handles all of that. But at the end of the day, is I want them to employ the same approach. So does that answer your question on
Yeah,
prospecting?
that does. No, that it's been an absolutely amazing interview. Ivan, so for the people, let's wrap this up. For the people who want to find out more about you, your story, check out your branding, check out what you're doing, where's the best place for them to go?
Absolutely. So ivantemelkov.com, that's my personal website. RazorSharpDigital.com is our company website. You can find me under Ivan Temelkov or Ivan_Temelkov everywhere. I've got my YouTube channel. I'm on LinkedIn. Would love to connect with you. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. My TikTok game is kind of off, so I'm still working on that. But just about everywhere. And I'm a sucker for conversations. I'm a sucker for helping provide solutions for people. And most importantly, if you're a big dreamer, I want to talk to you, because we need more of those kinds of people today.
That's absolutely awesome. Ivan Temelkov, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely. Welcome.